Hello, thank you so much for joining me. This is your Loving the Skin You're In masterclass, and I am Pia Antico, your Crone Life Joy Reboot mentor and founder of Essential Awakening Mentoring. And what we're going to be looking at today is how we can shift our experience of our pre to post menopausal body. This has been inspired from my own personal journey and my professional training, and how I've looked at my own personal journey through that lens, and also inspired by the fact that I have been talking to and seeing talked about throughout online and offline. The most common concern of women in our stage of life is it's either around finances or it's around their body. It's around the changes, the hormonal changes, the transitions, the hot flashes, the insomnia, the weight gain, the sore joints, mood swings, all the stuff. And what I keep seeing over and over is the concerns and queries, or what can I do about it? My body, I'm not feeling in control of my body. My body is doing whatever it thinks it wants to do, and I feel out of control. And the anger, frustration, resentment, not liking what the body is looking like anymore, or it's, I put on weight, all that sort of stuff. And so the questions are put out there, and the responses time and time again that come back to it are medical physiological solutions. So there's solutions to do with take some medicine, drink water, do sleep, exercise, all the stuff, the litany of stuff. We know the stuff. We know the stuff that we all get told, and a lot of the stuff, unfortunately, is also framed from a very youth-obsessed, consumer-oriented, patriarchal lens. So, we're getting messaging out there that, well, unless you're stick thin with a hard-abbed stomach, then somehow you're not doing it right. So with all that messaging that's coming at us, and then our internal understanding of that, and what our beliefs, and then with the changing of our body and how we are coping with it, then this masterclass is a response to that. And I come at this whole experience from a very different lens than simply just responding to bodily symptoms with physical solutions. I'm here to pose to you that without focusing on the bodily symptoms as the problem, but showing up from our inner wisdom, then if we do choose to take action from that space, we have a greater chance of experiencing ourselves and our bodies and the world we're walking through from a place of inner peace, clarity, confidence, joy, than if we are looking at the problems from our fear-based thinking, from a perspective of lack, and then taking action because we think that there's something missing and something's broken and needs fixing, and then we are finding solutions out there to fix what we think is broken in here. So I'm hoping by the end of this that you'll see that just with a slight flip of the switch on how you approach the things that you do at this stage of your life, and particularly in relation to how you respond to your body, how you show up in it, and how you move through the world in it, that you will see that you may well find that there's not a lot that you really do that you need to do. And that if you do take action, you'll be taking it from your Crone wisdom space as opposed to your fear-based thinking. This is what I hope you take away from this masterclass today. So thank you, everyone. That's your introduction. I am going to put us into share screen mode and we will start the presentation. Yay! So before we do, I really want us to just let's get all comfy. Some of us it's evening time, others day. So let's sit up straight, let's get comfy. You know, the head, the neck. Big deep breath in and out. Because I love the sound of my Tibetan singing bowl. Let me just ring it. Let's be in ready. So, welcome to Love the Skin You're In. Fabulous after 40 without looking younger or losing weight. And here's the thing. It's not saying that that looking a certain way is good or bad, and it's not saying that losing weight is good or bad. It's just simply that our happiness is not from those things. But if we step forward in our lives from the position of our innate happiness, then those things will take care of themselves if they need to. All right, so let me press go on this. Yay! Okay, thank you. Yes, absolutely. And that is, I'm glad that you're seeing that immediately before we even begin. It's that's it. It's all about what's your starting position, pretty much. And then from there, from this knowing your starting position, then dictates your journey and how you experience it. So, intros. I'm Pia Antico. I am a Crone Life Joy Reboot mentor, coach, and trainer. Self-titled, self-created. That title is hopefully descriptive of what I'm doing. Crone is your crowning, is the title given to the woman who is in her crowning stage of womanhood. Crone is a term for wise woman. Unfortunately, from the 11th century onwards, and we know certainly through our Disney experience that the old witch, the crone, the hag, was considered either evil, ugly and evil, and not a good thing to be called or to consider yourself. I'm here as part of the reclaiming of the term. The term is for the term is for the title of a woman who's in her crowning stage of womanhood. This is a power stage. In fact, I would dare say that it is our most powerful stage of our life cycle. We finally get to turn our focus inwards towards ourselves. We get to turn that womb energy, instead of being about creating another human being, we get to turn that energy into creating wisdom and propelling us creatively through the rest of our life. So this is not a period of dried up womb energy, barren of any creative juices or anything like that. Hence why I'm doing what I'm doing. I feel that this is both a spiritual necessity to reclaim our divine feminine, particularly our wise woman, reclaim what it means to be a wise woman in a society now that is completely youth obsessed, and not just youth obsessed as far as say the mother is concerned, but we are now beyond. We're actually quite a sick society, that the focus is on the maiden, the prepubescent girl, and sexualizing her, and then making out like the rest of us older women have to keep looking like her and acting like the innocent young maiden in order to maintain any level of visibility or legitimacy in this culture. So I'm here to say no. So tapping into your crone wise woman is not just about impacting your own personal life and your family and relationships, and being able to show up to your unapologetic, authentic self without needing to rigidly enforce boundaries or make people do stuff in order for you to be okay. It's a political revolutionary statement as well. I am hoping that enough of us get together and counter the current very toxic messaging in our society about women in general, but particularly about women and aging. So this is my mission. I've accepted it, and I hope that you also choose to accept it, the challenge. So what we're covering today, I've introduced myself. I'm going to get you girls in a bit to also introduce yourselves in the chat as well. So we'll be doing that in a moment. We're going to be talking about the menopause quickly, the menopause mindfuck. I'm French, but you get used to it. And what is that? Well, it's that story that we're telling ourselves. It's the beliefs that we're carrying and the expectations that we have, that we're carrying into our experience of our transitioning body and our place in the universe because of it. And yeah, there's a whole lot of really crappy messaging. And actually, it was really interesting that earlier I realized day before yesterday, women's their fertility and cycle has generally never been framed positively. I mean, our periods were called the curse, you know. So from that, then we have just start with a notion that there is something pathological, something demonic, something impure, something problematic about women and their bodies and their cycles, and a complete and utter removal of our physical being, our energetic being from the divine feminine, which I really, really do believe is underpinning a great deal of our negative experience of this stage of our life, of the transitions that we're going through. And so, yeah, that's we're going to be chatting a little bit more about that. The answer to the menopause mindfuck is my Awaken, the Joy Within, my framework, my three principles being mind, as in big M mind, the universal mind, the impersonal mind, consciousness, our spark within us, the bit that breathes life into thought and into our experience. It's that it's the spark in us. So mind, consciousness, and thought. And when we talk about thought, we are talking about the phenomena of thought, not concerned with what you're thinking, as in your personal thinking, your ego-based intellectual personal thinking. We don't need to. You realize hopefully by the end of this that unlike cognitive behavioral, NLP, or other frameworks that have you paying attention to what it is that you're thinking, the content of your thinking, and manipulating it and changing it and reframing it and rewiring it and all that stuff, this is unnecessary. And in fact, it's troublesome, because it keeps you up here. And when we're up in here in our head, we are obstructing our ability to drop down into our wisdom. But we're talking thought as in Descartes saying, I think, therefore I am. It's the power of thought. Existence comes from thought. We breathe into existence from our thought, from our thinking. And from our thinking is our emotions arise. So we think, we are feeling our thinking 100% of the time. So why that is important to us is that it's not the outside world causing us to feel stuff, it is our thinking. But the phenomena of thought and emotion is such, it arises and parts. You know, it's a mechanism like ebb and flow, like the tide, and we don't have to do anything with it. We don't have to get freaked out by a thought popping in our head. We do not control what thoughts pop in our head or when. And we don't have to do anything for them to go away. And in fact, not doing anything is the best and only way to let them go easily, rather than holding on to them and adding extra meaning to them. So we're going to do an EFT being tapping. Now with EFT, I just know that it works, and I know that it's about our connecting us to our acupressure points, energetic points, with an affirmation in there, and you're tapping it in. It's brilliant stuff. But I am not. I don't have a PhD in it. For me personally, I don't really care to pull things apart and know necessarily know always the mechanisms behind why something works. If you want to do that, that is totally okay by you to do that. Google EFT and or tapping, and you can study to your heart's content. But I know that it works. It does. It's a brilliant, brilliant tool. Now, the thing is, like with all tools and techniques, it's not the tool. The tool itself isn't making you okay. You're already okay. Your spirit being is already okay. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You're not empty or anything like that. But what these tools and techniques help you with is tapping into what is already there. Also, energetically, we are energy beings in physical form. The whole universe is energy. All material matter is energy. So there are levels in which there that we get to manipulate energy. Move it around, you know, block it, open it up, do stuff. And so all these tools and techniques work on a metaphysical level that we don't have to intellectually understand in order for there to be impact. So that's where I'm at with that. And so I have a EFT tapping guided meditation that we will do together on appreciating and loving the body you're in. Thank you, Brad Yates. I love Brad Yates. He's got 1,000,001 in YouTube. So it's inspired from one of his tapping videos. Along the way, pop any questions in the chat, and I will respond to them as we go, and we'll see where we're at the end if we have a live Q&A based on time. I will also be telling you how you can work with me. At the end of all this, I have my one-on-one VIP Crone Life Joy Reboot offer, and it is launched and ready to go, and I am looking for my beautiful Crone tribe to jump in and work with me. So I will tell you a little bit about that and how you can sign up if it's something you want. Yay! So let's move on. Before we get started with the presentation factual side, I would love to hear from you. So pop in the comments. And for those of you watching this in replay, think to yourself now, bring into your present the feelings, feel into the joy. What is it that you have going on in your life? What comes to mind? You don't have to overly think about it. What's the first thing that pops into your mind as far as something that's working for you now. What are you celebrating in your life right now? It could be something that happened. It could be something within you, a relationship that is working well, whatever it is. Pop those in the chat if you want to share that. Okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, brilliant. So congrats on that. Congrats on that. You're engaged. Your kid's engaged. Oh, brilliant. Daughter, that's wonderful. Oh, congratulations. Joining a family, so that is a beautiful thing. Congratulations indeed. Yeah. You're brilliant. You're just feeling happy to be here and able to rethink about what it is to be in your body. That is brilliant. I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you. Okay, let us get moving. So from that space of the joy, you've brought in the joy, just let me know. I mean, though I don't like talking problems, because if the thing that you focus on is if you focus on the problem and try and solve the problem, you realize then what happens is you stay in the problem focus. But I would like to know from that space of joy and gratitude, what is one of the main issues that you are finding in your menopausal body that is of concern for you? Okay, wait, yeah, insomnia, I'm totally getting that myself. Yeah. Mood swings, like stabbing people. Okay, yes. And you're celebrating the fact that you're not. Oh God, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, no, please, no stabbings. Yeah, that would be really good. Yeah, so as I'm seeing there from your responses, it's like what I've been finding out there in the world, out there in online and offline space in the conversations. It does appear to be the weight gain, the mood swings, the aching joints, hot flashes, stuff like that. So have you ever said that you hate the way you look? Ever said, I've gotten so huge? That one came when I looked at myself in photos recently. You say things like, my body aches. The hot flashes are driving you crazy, or maybe that you feel like, yeah, stabbing people, punching people, yeah. How about, I wish I could control my body and then I will be happy, along those lines. And therein is the myth that we're going to get on top of. Once I've fixed this thing that is broken, then I'll be okay. And I'm hoping that you see at the end of this that you don't need to wait. And in fact, if you approach things from that space, things will never be good enough. So you're all saying you've done that. The gorilla. Yeah, the gorilla is pretty much how I felt after the photo shoot I did earlier. Love the gorilla. Yeah. Okay, so there was a time, and here's the thing, I will preface this right now. There was a time, it still is a time. I want you to all understand that the framework, the Awaken framework, and based on the 3 principles, the main 3 principles, paradigm tenet is that we are living in the feeling of our thinking 100% of the time, meaning that the outside world is not causing us to feel stuff. And in this context, our bodily sensations, outside world, it's not the body, it's not the people, it's not the events. Yes, those things are happening because we do live in a physical material world and shit happens, but it's our story that we tell ourselves, the meaning we give it, that in fact causes our feelings about said things, which is a great thing to know, because what it means is that we are actually in control. But we're not in control of the outside world, and indeed we're not in control, in full control of the mechanics of the body. However, how we see it and how we think about it has impact, you know, mind-body connection thing. But anyway, and so what this is coming at is that when you have the insight, the transformational insights from this, my Awaken framework, the thing is, it's not like, oh, the light's switched on and it's on now forever and a day and will never turn off. No. We are energy beings in a physical body. We will have a physical experience. We also, part of that physical experience is the limits of our ego thinking, our intellectual thinking, our theoretical and abstract thinking. And so sometimes, even with this insight, and we will have moments where we slip back into our stuck ego thinking, and the world really looks the way we think it is in our head, and we respond in kind. So the thing is, sometimes you see it being your inner wisdom and seeing reality through that wisdom lens. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes in your head. Sometimes you're in your fear-based thinking and in your self-limiting thinking. And here's the thing, it's all okay. It's not like I have to be switched on all the time and that's it. And if I'm not, I'm doing something wrong. It's all okay. So, but what happens is sometimes you can ride through the stuck thinking and get out the other end, and it dissolves on its own and you're back into awareness again. Sometimes you get a little bit more stuck in that maze in your head, in which case here I am to tap you on the shoulder and guide you out of that maze back into awareness again. So there you go. That's what all this is about. So, but there was a time, with pockets and moments right now kind of thing, when I felt that my body was out of control. I did not trust my body to work properly and for any length of time, or maintain a skinny weight. I've had issues with how my body has been healthy and the sensations through it since I was a young adult, with chronic illness and major injury and 2 abusive marriages and all the stuff. So for me, there was no premenopause. My body was perfectly functioning and I knew what it was doing, and now it's not, which is quite a common experience. Mine is now coming into this stage of my life and learning finally to be in my body in the present moment and not be disconnected from my wisdom self in this vehicle. The weight for me, also my story of fluctuating weight has been that from the age of 21 through to now I'm 49. In this time span, my weight has gone from 35 kilos at my skinniest post head injury and coming out of coma. I think I was 28 at the time, to bounding up to 94 kilos and at its highest point, which I'm kind of ish where I am a bit now. I've lost 35 kilos in the space of a year. So when I was in Pakistan between 2014 and 2015. And then it all came back on again when I left that abusive marriage and came back home. So for me, weight loss has absolutely been tied to trauma and injury and illness and abuse. So for me, I've been working on releasing those stories so that I can be first and foremost in the skin I'm in and okay. And then from that point, taking aligned action as to how I nourish and strengthen my body. And this is what I'm hoping you will all take away with too. But me, so I tried all kinds of things in that process of the ups and downs of the weight and the injury to body and all that. I've tried absolutely everything, Western medicine wise, and all the complementary and alternate medicines, and I've done it all. And in the end, nothing really worked. Nothing worked for long or remained consistent or anything like that. And so I still didn't feel in control of my body. I did not trust my body to do what it needed to do. And on top of that, I hated the way I looked and I hated the way I felt within my skin, which then had flow-on effects with how I showed up in my business and how I showed up in the street, whether I showed up, whether I went out, whether I interacted with people. And as I said, we're still getting, we will always have moments where we're in and out of wisdom awareness. So it's not something that's instantly just poof, gone away. And what's been beautiful about this realization is that our legitimacy, our validity, our expert level. I mean, I'm a coach in life coaching and spirit coaching and all that stuff, and about bringing in goodness and healing and well-being and all the good stuff. Shouldn't I look like an Instagram model? Shouldn't I have, like, $1 million in the bank? Shouldn't I have all those things in order for you to believe that I know what the fuck I'm talking about? Shouldn't I prove it? What's the first thing they say? Shouldn't it be like 100% proved on yourself? And see, here's the thing. I'm not talking about outcome. I'm not talking about particular, metrics. I'm talking about process. What I help you with and what I have learned along the way is not about the particular metrics and the particular outcomes. In fact, that's the wrong way to look at it. So anyone who is gearing you towards a particular goal, a particular success metric, and putting that in front of you, and that's the thing you're going towards, this is, in fact, cart before the horse kind of thing, and it's not how it works. What I'm here to guide you through, and what I've been guiding myself through in the journey, is about the process of being. And then from that process of being, the rest of the stuff takes care of itself. And we don't need to put any particular measure around what that looks like. And though indeed, when we are showing up within our own wisdom and taking aligned action from that, it is very possible that for someone that might take form and shape in millions of dollars in the bank, or losing 30 kilos, or whatever, having 10 clients a day, I mean, in their business coming in or something. I mean, absolutely, that is absolutely a possibility, if that is what is meant for you. But I'm not talking about results in that sense of a particular metric. I'm talking about the result of feeling confident within your own skin, of being able to trust your inner voice and take action from that, and being at ease in the uncertainty, because this is the reality of the universe and our existence. The future is unknown. It is not predicted by the past. And all we can do in the present moment is show up from our inner wisdom. And so for me at that time, I believed that I would not be happy or successful or desirable, all those things, until I lost weight and got healthy. And so therein lies the problem. When you think that you cannot be happy until you get XYZ kind of thing, therein lies the issue. Happiness is not from the getting. We already are at our core being joy, radiant joy and unconditional love. So what I have found that it wasn't my body that was pissing me off. Now, what does that mean? Well, for many of us, we are primed and trained to think this way, that the outside world and other people and events, bodily sensations are causing our feelings. They're not. It doesn't work that way. But we're all sort of told that. We're told that from books and movies and music and even how we train our kids, how we speak to our kids. If they come home from kindy or from school and they're upset, and we'll say, you know, did Timmy bully you today? Did something happen? Did some person do something to make you feel the way you feel? And then they gear towards that kind of questioning, then of course look for the answers to the reason that they're feeling the way they're feeling by saying, yes, this happened, that happened, this person did this, that happened. We say it of our partners and our jobs. Our job is pissing us off. Our partner is annoying the crap out of us. Or good stuff. It's not all the bad stuff. You can be saying out, you know, my partner makes me happy. No, your partner does not make you happy. What we call love in relationships more often than not is not love, it's attachment. It's the story that we are telling ourselves about that person and what it means to us, and that's what we're responding to. We are capable of unconditional love. We are capable of spirit to spirit bonded closeness that is not tied to categories and expectations and the story in our head. It is possible. But the thing is, it's not, well, that's the love for husband or wife or partner. That's the love for kids. That's what is not categorized, you know. And the minute we start categorizing based on, you know, type of person, type of relationship, we then get ourselves into trouble. So it's not the outside world. It's the story we tell ourselves about what's going on at the time. Yes, absolutely, there is a physical body. Yes, there are people out there doing shit. And yes, absolutely, there's a physical body. We cut it, it bleeds. There is. And the physical body sends signals to the brain, and the brain then sends signals to the body, and we have a whole mechanism thing going on here, and we have an immune system that heals things, and the whole thing, it's all happening. It is. But our experience of the whole thing that's happening is the story in our head. And our experience of pain is actually not about the brain, nerve ending, brain dialogue between injury and the brain and pain and all the rest of it. Our experience, I mean, that's happening, but our experience of it is through our thinking. And so we absolutely can very much either put ourselves in a state where we are completely engulfed in the pain or sensation of our body and really like feel that it's all encompassing and it's all around us and that's all we see. Or it's very possible to sit in the pocket of our wisdom, even while the body is screaming at us and doing whatever it's doing, and not be overwhelmed by it. And this is what I hope you realize by the end of this. And this is what I found within myself. When what I found is that when I made my body the problem, be it physical pain or illness or brain injury or weight gain, when I've made some aspect of dissatisfaction in my body, the problem, and then went about trying to solve that problem. Well, not only did I not find solutions that worked, but it just kept feeding into the story in my head of lack, of not being good enough, of things being broken, fear, frustration, anger, and resulted in, yes, even though I might have been choosing healthy tools or techniques to fix things, they didn't work because I was coming at it and using them from a head level position of fear, of a position of self-loathing, and frustration and anger and all the rest of it. You can't work from that. And just even at a biochemical level, if you were trying to do anything from a position of energetic, anger and frustration and self-loathing, you're just flooding your body through with cortisol and other stress hormones. And clearly it's not going to work. Even the best healthful diet of the best good quality organic food and eaten at the right time in the right proportion and blah, 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 and all the stuff, if you're doing it from a position of thinking that is just flooding your body with stress hormones, clearly your body is not going to process that food in the most efficient and effective way, let alone energetically and spiritually, you being in the right high vibe, manifesting abundance and all the good stuff. So cart before the horse is what I am seeing out there. If you are focusing on the problem is what you will get. Once I awakened, and awaken, you keep seeing awaken is my 6-element framework, 6 elements to joyful living. It is the framework that came flooding out of my inner wisdom in February this year, and I have been refining it and refining it specifically as a general model and framework, but then also specifying it to its use in our particular instance of being in our pre to post menopausal years, and what that can look like for us, how we can make use of this awaken model. And so awaken is awareness, wisdom, appreciation, kindness, equanimity, and now being in the present. And I'll unpack that a little bit more later. So awakening the joy that's within our spirit being. We are spirit beings in physical form, and our spirit being by nature, by its default factory setting, is joy. It is unconditional love. It is radiance. It is limitless. It is joy. So what we're doing is not doing stuff to put joy in us because we are already joy, but what we're doing is awakening to what is already there. We're not broken. We don't need fixing. And when we are in a state of our inner joy and inner wisdom, then things like forgiveness and appreciation and all the good stuff, it just happens naturally. We don't have to chase it. We don't have to be specific in it. It arises as a consequence. And when we are in a state of forgiveness of self to start with, first and foremost, really, that's what it's about, forgiving yourself for giving yourself a bloody hard time along the way and being mean to yourself when your body wasn't doing what you thought it needed to do. So forgiving self. Yeah, forgiving others is helpful too, in the sense of not meaning that you condone or accept or say they are okay and their shitty behavior, but simply that you release them, and more to the point, you release yourself from them in your thinking and your experience, and they can just go off with your goodwill and prayers, because better to send people off with goodwill and prayers and release them into the wild than hold on to them in your thinking. So really that's what forgiveness is. It's releasing the story in your head about them and letting them go. Appreciating yourself and your body as it is right now. And that's moment to moment, every moment. So it is a decision, a mindful decision in each moment one after the other, to keep renewing your appreciation, your body as it is right now. And from that space, any aligned action that you do that might be, I don't know, go to bed earlier, hands up on that one, drinking more water, you know, whatever it is that you choose to do from wisdom, from a space of appreciation and self-love, well, that's going to work. But what's really beautiful, I've noticed, is that when you're in a state of appreciation, all those things that you thought were a problem that needed fixing, many of those things fall away all by themselves, because it was a problem in your thinking, not an actual problem. And that is actually the largest truth of our wanderings through life, is it's very rarely is it an objective problem that actually needs fixing. More often than not, it's the problem in our mind, in our thinking about it. So I've been sharing with you. I clearly don't follow my slide order, and I don't anymore. It's funny now. I still do slides, but I present. Now that with my 3 principles training, what happens is I speak from my heart in the present moment, and whatever metaphor comes up is what comes up, whatever analogy, whatever story, it's what arises from within, and I just speak, you know, I speak off the cuff in the moment. Now, create slides, but then I don't end up following them. So we've really been talking anyway. Today I'm going to share with you, well, the number one cause of my body loathing. Well, the number one cause of my body loathing is the story, you know, and my thinking about my body, and frustration of what I thought it had to look a certain way and behave a certain way. That's influenced by the messaging we get out in the world and society in general, by how the messaging we've had growing up in our families. It's all that stuff that feeds into the story that we tell ourselves. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the cause of my body loathing was my story about self. And well, yeah, the fears behind that loathing. Well, initially, because I was still laboring under the illusion that it's the outside world that's causing stuff, physical body included in that context. So I had a belief that, you know, the body is doing stuff, and I'm feeling stuff because of the body, or because people are telling me stuff, or stuff's happening, or what have you, and that I need to fix those things, and that I'm not okay unless I do, that I'm not okay within myself unless those things are fixed. So that, of course, by nature of that, throws up fear. You know, it's that story in our head. Our ego-based thinking is fear-based. Which is why it differs from being in our spirit wisdom. Our spirit wisdom is plugged into the limitless universe and the all-knowingness of everything, and the joy and the radiance and the way, hey, all the good stuff, you know. And so when we're in our wisdom, there is no fear. And so how I flip that loathing to acceptance and appreciation? Well, thankfully, the answer to that is not about looking outside for the tools. So I didn't have to write a list of things that I accept, or it's not the tools, it's not the techniques. And I think this is, pardon me, throat going a bit funny, let me grab some water. Thank you. So, yeah. Unlike a lot of the modalities, healing modalities, psych modalities, self-help and empowerment and all that stuff, what they'll have you doing is going, well, okay, you need to be kinder to yourself, you need your self-love, you need acceptance and gratitude and all that sort of stuff. But it's still coming cart before the horse, it's still kind of going, it's out there, and you've got to do stuff to bring it in. What I have understood is that when I am awakened to my inner spirit and I'm in the present moment in my wisdom, appreciation is already there. Acceptance is already there, and they arise within you when you've, when you've cleared away all the fog of your thinking that obscures you from being in your wisdom. Then the radiance of your wisdom, the nature of your wisdom, are the good things like unconditional love and joy and acceptance and forgiveness and appreciation and kindness and all the good stuff. So it's more about coming back to your wisdom, awakening to that joy within, coming into your wisdom and sitting in that and responding to the world from that space. Rather than looking out for things to do acceptance or do appreciation. But when you sit in them, when you arise in them, and they arise within you, and you receive being in acceptance and appreciation, and sit with it, and don't sort of fob it off quickly with another thought, another activity, another distraction, but really allow yourself to sit energetically in those experiences. And then what happens is that all that negative thinking in your head about yourself, all the frustrations and that, they just fall away all by themselves without you having to chase them away, so which is just really fabulous. And so as I keep mentioning, the Awaken 6 elements of joyful living. This is the framework that came spilling out of me between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. in February after 3 years of training, certification and personal journeying in the 3 principles paradigm that I've been talking about. So joyful living comes from getting out of your fear thinking. So letting that fear thinking, letting that story in your head just evaporate, which is what it will naturally do when you're not focused on it. And when you are not focused on your past thinking or future worrying, that space is, in fact, the present moment. And it's in that space that these elements show themselves. And so when you get out of your fear thinking and you get to then lead from an open heart, and then there's nothing to fear. We are not the stories we tell ourselves. We are not the sum of the physical measured material matter, and we are not the stories we tell ourselves in our heads. We are spirit beings having a human experience. And so the key elements, as I was telling you before, awareness, wisdom, the hierarchy, it's not as linear as that. The way I have been experiencing how these elements, they are interconnected and bleed one into the other, rather than it being building step by step by step. And it's kind of not, it's not linear in that, quite so in that way. Awareness, wisdom. But the reason that I've done it like this is, as opposed to like mostly people think, well, if it's not linear, then you make it a circular thing. But this model, well, it's what came out for me. This notion of the joy, although I suppose it could have been circular and the joy's all around. I might play with that later on and see if I can make that circular. And the joy is the energy of the universe. The joy is also the energy of our divinity within, and the universe in general. The nature is joy, bliss. So awareness and wisdom, appreciation, and it's appreciation not just of all the good stuff, but also appreciating the tests and trials and difficulties. And understanding that in truth there's no mistakes, everything has a reason, and if we see the growth in opportunity in the difficulties, then that doesn't become, it's not a mistake in the end. You've got kindness, you've got equanimity. Equanimity is that being okay with uncertainty, being okay when things aren't okay, because the truth of the matter is you are okay. Your spirit being, is not being battered about by the storm of the outside world and its activities. So you are, in fact, in the deep core of your being, solid, rooted, okay, even when things outside of you are not okay. And when you keep tapping into that okayness that is innate within you, then yes, stuff will be happening. Stuff always happens, but you just don't freak out about it in the same way that you used to when you thought that the outside world was the thing that was causing you to feel stuff. Now, being in the now, being in the present, it is in the grounds of the now that all these elements come into play and open forth into the joy that is our inner nature and the nature of the universe. So very quickly, the three principles was coined in the 70s by philosopher and enlightened person Sydney Banks. And as I said before, the main tenet of it is that we are living in the feelings of our thinking 100% of the time. It is not the outside world causing us to feel stuff. And there are a number of implications of that core tenet on how we move through the world and how we engage with ourselves and others. One being that I just keep coming back to time and time again is that we have our own reality. We are all in our own unique reality. And so conflict comes from the misunderstanding that even though we might all be in the having the same physical experience, none of us are having the same, we might be in the same physical situation. The events might be happening. We might all be watching the same movie in the same movie cinema at the same time. But we're not having the same experience. And yet we shorthand everything, thinking that and assuming that, well, I was there, you were there, so you saw the same thing. It just doesn't work like that. And then also coming from that is this belief that everyone has to be on the same page and agree and see it the same way in order for the relationship to be bonded and healthy. And this is not true. Compatibility is a myth. So we cause ourselves a great deal of suffering and stress in our life, in our relations to other people, when we assume that they know what we know and see things the way we see things, and expect them to just do things the way we do it. And then why didn't they see it that way? Why didn't they see that I was hurt? Why didn't they apologize? That's not fair. And we get into a whole bunch of thinking, and it's just not how it works. So there you go. So 91% of people who received coaching from the three principles, this was research done by the three principles global community, 91% reported being significantly more in control of their behaviors, thoughts and feelings. 75% reported being less depressed, and 84% less anxiety. And this comes as a byproduct without having to look at the problem behavior and fixing the problem behavior, or trying to control or stop feelings or manage thoughts or all that stuff that comes from not directly approaching the problem of depression or anxiety. It just is a byproduct of when you are living from your spirit wisdom in the present moment and understand the true nature of human experience and where your thoughts and feelings are coming from and what happens to them and all that stuff. It's not about an intellectual understanding. It is about an insight. It's about embodied insight and realization. And from that, transformation comes. So, and again, this is where I come in to help guide you by pointing stuff out. And eventually there will be a aha moment, a light bulb go off. You will see in a way that you've never seen before. And that's spiritually seen, not eye seen, as not with your eyes or your intellect, but your spirit being seen. There'll be a knowing deep within you that cannot be unknown. And this is what this experience has been like for me and for my colleagues who have also trained and work in this principle, in the 3 principles. So imagine for a moment, let's bring, because everything comes back into imagine again, and the feels. Imagine that you are joyful. It is, even if the stuff is happening, even if the family is exploding and the job is pissing you off and your body is just, up and down like a yo-yo and doing all the stuff, and all the stuff is happening. But imagine yourself in a state of ease, even with all the shit happening. See yourself not having to chase after all the individual shit to try and fix that shit, but just being able to turn within and sit within your wisdom in that eye of the storm, and where needed, take action from that position rather than from, the fear-based kind of took with his head cut off running around the place trying to fix stuff. So imagine the calm and the clarity and the confidence of having fully realized that no matter the situation, that your feelings are yours, and the outside system, and the feelings that arise within you, they don't have any power over you. You don't have to freak out about the thought that's popped in your head or the feeling that has arisen. The other thing with your feelings, with your emotional nervous system bodily response feeling, they're not telling you anything about you as a person. They're not telling you anything about the outside world or the situation. All it's indicating, those feelings, all they're indicating is the quality of the thinking in that present moment. So if you're having problematic thinking, you're going to have problematic feelings arise. If you've got thinking that is ease and joyful thinking, or thinking happy thoughts, then the emotional response will be of ease and beneficial emotions that are pleasing to you. So that's where all that's coming from. Imagine that you're no longer making the mistake of chasing happiness outside of you. Or within your body, like in the sense that you're not going, well, when this thing is fixed or this thing is gotten or I achieve this or what have you, that then I'll be happy. Imagine being happy first and then allowing to see what arises from that space. And imagine that you are following your inner wisdom. You are really dialed in. You are really tuned in. No more second guessing. Lord knows, my hands up. I know there have been plenty of times in my life. They're probably the things I would call the mistakes. The mistakes were, I had that instinct. I had the voice within saying, no, don't do that thing. And instead the fear-based ego thinking that is all the beliefs and expectations, shoulds, musts, or guilt-ridden, all the crappy stuff that tells us we need to do it a certain way in order to be okay. That thinking would then jump in and override the inner voice. How many of us have second-guessed our inner voice and gone with the voice in our head instead of the voice in our heart, in our instinct, in our wisdom? Hands up. So imagine that you will be tuning in to the correct voice, the voice that's going to lead you in the right direction, and be able to follow that with confidence. Just imagine. It's a great space to be in. Yes, I can see. Yeah, you're saying that'd be brilliant. Yeah, it would be brilliant. Well, now let me share with you. Let us end. Let me just see where we are in our timing. I did put a timer on. At least I thought I put a timer on. Oh my God. I thought I put a timer on and I didn't. Okay, I am going to take us through a tapping, and I hope that I haven't been talking too long, guys, sorry. Okay, so let us do this tapping and then we'll wrap things up. Pardon me while I've got my other computer down here. I'm opening up the tapping script because I haven't memorized it. I don't know how actors do that, memorize lines and things and just, yeah, no. So I want to just get it up on screen when I type in the correct password. Pardon me. Okay, so let's get ourselves comfy. Turn your head. Check. Now, EFT tapping, as I said, I will, it's some gestures, some tapping gestures around the main energetic points around your face, chest, and underarm and head around there. There'll be a tapping sequence, and I will be doing a guided meditation through. This is about 8 minutes. This is thank you to Bradley Yates for providing the inspiration for this. So, getting ready. So, for many of us, we say things about our body that is not pleasing. We might get angry at our bodies for not performing the way we think it should, or not looking the way we think it should. Failing to appreciate how truly amazing our bodies really are, the miracle that is our existence. And really, really not appreciating. So, hands together. We start under here. Tapping is called the anchoring. So, I take full responsibility for my well-being, and I choose to really appreciate my body. I choose to love, honor, and respect myself. I choose to really appreciate my body, and I choose to love and honor myself. I choose to really appreciate my body, and I choose to recognize how phenomenal it is and how amazing it is that it's doing so many things to sustain me right in this moment. I choose to really appreciate my body, and I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I love, honor, and accept myself. I choose to really appreciate my body. I choose to really love my body. My body is pretty darn phenomenal. And I'm not always aware of that. And I don't always acknowledge how amazing it is. My body is doing many things. Right now, there are neurons firing in my brain. My lungs are drawing in oxygen. And I'm processing that oxygen. My heart is pumping blood throughout my body. And I'm sending impulses to make my fingers tap on my face. There's a lot going on. And it's all very complex. And yet, my body makes it all look easy. So I choose to be impressed with my body. I choose to really appreciate my body. I choose to acknowledge all the things it does for me. All the ways it gets me through the day. I choose to be really impressed with my body. And that's not always how I feel. A lot of times I'd berate, complain. I'm very unappreciative at times. And I take it for granted, all the good things that my body does. And only focus on the things that it doesn't do so well. I focus on the ways that it experiences pain. Or fails to have me operate in the best ways possible. Like not moving easily enough. Or feeling bloated. Or not running fast enough. And I notice all the ways my body doesn't do its best. While failing to recognize all the amazing things that it's doing. And when it's not doing its best, that's often because I'm not taking better care. And I don't need to beat myself up about that. But I do choose to change how I treat my body. Show more appreciation for my body. I choose to feed it better. I choose to exercise and move it. I choose to show it some real love. That it can operate in even better ways. And I choose to clear whatever stops me from doing that. I don't always take the best care of my body. It's not because I'm bad or stupid. It's just that I have some thoughts that are not always helpful. Maybe I have some programming that doesn't cause me to take the best care of my body. And I can change that. Giving myself permission to be much more appreciative of my body. So that I more naturally take better care of it. Maybe taking some time out each day to sit quietly and notice some of the amazing things that my body is doing. Noticing my breathing. Allowing myself to feel my heartbeat. Noticing that I'm having thoughts about all these things. That's the kinds of little processing. So all the thoughts about the kinds of processing that I'm doing. And I choose to really appreciate in body, mind, and spirit. Let's take a deep breath. And exhale. Even when your body is not operating as well as you'd like, your body is a really phenomenal thing to give yourself a chance to really appreciate that all the kinds of things that your body does and benefits you. And for me, that realization definitely has been that one of the things that my body has done for me in its wisdom is the weight gain for me has always been in the times of my life where I was not in acute injury or abuse. So somewhere, at some level, my body is holding on to extra padding as a means of protecting me from stuff. But I know that I don't need that anymore, because I know that when I show up in my inner wisdom, as opposed to my ego fear-based thinking, that I will respond to whatever happens in the present moment in the best possible way, and everything is for my benefit. So thank you, beautiful body, for cushioning me from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, but I don't need it anymore, and nor do you. Thank you so much. Well, I hope that that really benefited. You loved it. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Now, as with all things aligned action, I'm not going to say things like do this every day, do this at a certain time, and get you all in your head about having to do things in a routine in a certain way. Listen into your wisdom and take aligned action. This is just one of many tools out there available to you for tapping into your wisdom space. So there you go. I've been answering questions along the way. You've been putting things in chat, so that's great, and I've been doing that. If you have any further questions after this, please reach out. You can inbox me in Facebook, Pia Antico. You can email me at essentialawakeningmentoring@gmail.com. So reach out. Before I go, I will now be just telling you how you can, ever so quickly, let you know that this is how you can work with me. Crone Life Joy Reboot. It's a VIP 12-week one-to-one coaching package. And it comprises of 6 fortnightly 1-hour coaching sessions in Zoom around the 6 elements, so 1 element per session. You have 12 weeks of WhatsApp or Voxer support. I do not use Messenger. I can't stand it because it does not let you have unlimited voice messaging thing. So you get to choose between WhatsApp or Voxer. I'm on both. What I'd like for you to do is you choose one, and that's what we stick to. So I'm not sort of spreading messages over multiple platforms and getting confused. So pick one. When you book in with me, and then we have that conversation and emails back and forward, and give me your details, you get to choose at that point. So one or the other. So it's 12 weeks of Voxer support. What I'm hoping will be available to you in the alternate fortnights is, with that Voxer support, is that what you're doing is implementing the insights from the session before, and if you've got questions, need further support, want more resources, want to show me stuff, that's what we have our Voxer and or WhatsApp support for. You also get a 1-hour Sacred Crone alignment session that is available to be taken up within 6 months of completing the VIP package with me. And it's ostensibly it's a attunement and a follow-up where you're at and what your life is looking like since hopefully having the insights and aligned action taking because of them. Then you also, part of this package is you get 33% discount on my upcoming group program, which will come out at the end of the year. You will have a 24-month validity to take up the group work program. A 7-week group work program, Awaken the Joy Within, Embrace Your Sacred Crone. And I'm really excited about this group program. I've been working on it and pulling it together as I take all the embodiment tools and techniques that I've learned along the way that are in my toolkit, but framing them within my Awaken 3 Principles inspired framework. So it's been a very interesting journey along the way on how to do that. So what I'm looking for in this upcoming program is it will definitely be a very embodiment, experiential kind of program rather than informational. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm building it and creating it as I speak. So this is the way you can work with me, one-to-one. This is the founders launch at present moment. So the market rate of this program, this offer, this 12-week one-to-one VIP mentoring, the market rate is $21,000. But for you, who jump in as a very special founding crone, you will get this for $3,333. I absolutely love it. It's all the threes. It's a fabulous angel number as well. So I'm just all about I'm all about the threes. So I mean, and the 21,000 adds up to 3. So you know, I just love my threes. Anyway, so $3,333 upfront, paid through PayPal. I do have a 3-month installment plan. So the installments would be $1,167 paid over 3 months, and also with PayPal, we automatically set up and do its PayPal thing. So that is your lot. That is how you can work with me. If this is something you want to do, then please reach out and let me know. Looking forward to working with as many of you as possible in the near future. This founders offer has just launched and it is active and available for the next 3 months. And then it won't be a founders offer anymore, and it will go to the market rate of $21,000. So jump in at $3,333. Yay! And be a founding crone. I look forward to being with you in all manners. I will see you in Facebook. I look forward to working with you directly and personally as soon as possible. Take care. See you later. Thank you for joining me. All right. And thank you. And I'm loving all the thank yous in there. Thank you. I'm so glad that you really absolutely resonated with everything I said and you're looking forward to talking to me. Oh, thank you. You can catch me in Facebook. Yeah. DM me. Yeah. Okay. See you, everyone. Bye.